Hi, John Dixon here from the Centre for Public Christianity. One of the mind-numbing statistics you often hear in connection with world poverty is that 1.2 billion people in the world live on less than $1 a day. Now, when I first heard that figure, I thought, well, hang on, a US dollar spent in Uttar Pradesh in India would go quite a distance, actually. But then someone pointed out that no, the World Bank use a system known as purchasing power parity, which measures the relative value of currencies across the globe. This basically means that if you can imagine as an Australian or an American living on less than $1 a day in your country, you can understand what it's like for the plight of 1.2 billion people in the world. Add to this the United Nations Food and Agricultural Report, which says that 68,000 people a day die of starvation. 68,000 people a day die of starvation. And it just becomes mind-numbing. To which some people respond, but hang on, that's where my taxes are meant to go. You know, I pay good taxes and that goes to help the poor of the world. There's a sense in which that's true. Most industrialised countries do spend a portion of their gross national income on overseas aid and development. In Australia, that figure is 0.30%. 0.30%. That's less than 1/3% of the gross national income goes to redress poverty in the world, which is not very much. I mean, just to do some maths for you, if you happen to be paying, say, $30,000 tax a year as a household. Now, I know some households will pay a lot more than that, some of you paying a lot less than that, but just for the sake of the argument, $30,000 tax from your household to the government each year. That means that just $90 a year of your contribution to the government goes to redress poverty. $90. And that's my new pants. You know, that's pretty much a shirt. That's half a dress. It's not a lot, is what I'm saying. And it's not as if Australians' personal giving makes up for the shortfall. The Australian Bureau of Statistics every 5 years runs what they call the Household Expenditure Survey. This is an amazing analysis of the spending patterns of 7,000 Australian households. That's a huge sample. And the most recent figures we have from 2005 reveal that the average Australian household, now that's household, not individual, spends a total of $231 a year on all forms of charitable giving. $231 a year, all forms of charitable giving. That works out to about 0.4% of the household income, or about 40 cents in every $100 spent on relieving the plight of the poor. And what's especially fascinating is that when you look at the spending patterns of the upper quintile, this is the upper 20% income bracket in Australia, they give less in percentage terms. It goes down to 0.32% or 30 cents in every $100 given to all forms of charitable giving. More interesting is when you compare what Australians spend on other things. So $231 a year on all forms of charitable giving. We spend more on confectionery, right? That's just ice cream, chips and chocolate. We spend $355 a year on confectionery. $477 on our pets. $810 per year on beer and wine. And almost 10 times as much on restaurant and takeaway meals. This is $2,200 a year spent by Australian households on restaurant and takeaway meals, compared with, as I said, $231 on all forms of charitable giving. Now, I suspect a lot of you listening into this will spend more than these averages indicate, but I still think it's worth pondering, as I did as I read these figures. Would I spend as much on relieving the plight of the poor as I would, say, on my CD collection, my wine, restaurant, takeaway meals, my annual holiday? And if not, Why not? What possible reason could there be for not matching my luxuries to myself with generosity toward the 68,000 people a day who die of starvation, to the 1.2 billion people who live on less than $1 a day?